Hey guys, welcome to Season 1, Episode 7.1 of the Van Build series. It's roughly over 2 years since I've did the Van Build series, but I'm coming back just to add a little bit of additional information after plumbing, in particularly to when I did the install to the water tank. Because since then I have had problems and I wanted to share with you during this Van Build of what I would recommend doing and what went wrong. So firstly, let's talk about what went wrong. When I installed that water tank, I used that metal strapping, and I would not recommend that now because when we were on our Queensland van trip, that actually broke. What happened was when I was filling the water tank, too much pressure built up, and because it's a plastic tank, they kind of bow a little bit, and I forgot to turn it off. Even though water was shooting out the breather valve, it wasn't coming out fast enough and the pressure was building up. So the tank started to bow a little bit. Now the tank I don't think was at risk at blowing up or anything, but what gave way was the metal straps. So currently now I have updated that with a better, stronger system, and I haven't had any problems with it since. And since then, when I fill the tank, I keep an eye on what's going on. So I will show you guys what I've changed with the tank mounting system now. Alright guys, so underneath the van, I'm going to show you what the support system looks like for the 110 litre water tank now. So same tank as the original one, it's going really well. But now instead of the metal strapping, I've used Uni-Strut. So I cut up 3 lengths of that, as you can see, that go along. And I put a bit of rubber in between the metal Uni-Strut and the plastic tank just for a bit of a buffer. And I'm using Booka Rod. It's 12mm, I believe, and that has a nut on that side and a nut on that side, just so that it's locked, and when you tighten that up, that will never undo. And on the top side I've used, that's like 4mm thick angle. And same thing with the Booka Rod, that goes through the hole. There's a nut on that side, nut on the top, and that locks it off. I did want to bolt through the chassis, but I ended up opting for really heavy duty metal tapping screws. They're really thick, and I've just pumped heaps of them through. So there's a total of 6 of these angle brackets, and that is where the Booka Rod attaches to. You might be able to see, but even this Booka Rod here has even slightly bowed, this part here, but that hasn't moved since, and I don't think that'll ever snap or break. It's only 110 kilos and there's a lot of support here. I could have even put like a flat plate the same size as the area of the bottom of the tank and just put that across for even more support. I didn't do that at the time, I was kind of in a rush, but yeah, that would probably be even better, but I don't think this is going to have any problems now. I haven't had any problems also with stones or anything hitting this, so that's 2.5 years ago, so yeah, I'm going pretty well so far. Another thing I also did with the pump recently was I changed to these hoses. Well, what I actually did was I flipped this pump around 180 so I can have access to the adjustments here on the end, because the way that it was before, the adjustments were hard up against that chassis there and I couldn't get an Allen key in and adjust it, so I had to flip it around 180, and to do that I actually had to attach these flexible hoses to extend from the rigid hosing, which is probably better anyway. So there is one last thing that I will tell you that I've added on in the plumbing, and I added an outdoor tap. So what I did was I added another 3-way Y-joint in, tapped off to that, and ran that pipe all the way down the back following the gas line, and I'll show you that on the other end. Also, I will say that a lot of people were worried about running pipes and my tank having that so close to the exhaust. I did wrap the exhaust, but I haven't had any issues with heat or melting of the plastic of the tank or any of the piping. So yeah, that dispels that. I haven't had any issues there. And while I'm under here, this is the grey water tank. This is the original metal strapping that I did use. I haven't updated it on the grey water tank because this basically is always empty. That valve just stays open and our grey water just runs out, so it doesn't really weigh very much at all, maybe a few kilo. And this doesn't get filled with pressure, that's just gravity fed. So it's a bit different to how this tank broke, because that was pressurized and it really wanted to expand, but this one is not under any pressure. It's just gravity of water draining into it, which is not going to cause it to bow or anything. This one hasn't bowed at all. So that's why I haven't updated the mounting support for the 68 litre grey water tank, is because I haven't had any issues with it and it's solid as hell. So here we are at the back corner of the left of the van. Here is that line that runs around. There's just a normal 90 ball valve there that turns it on and off, and it goes into this hose fitting there. So I can turn this on and have water running from the outside. And why would I want something like this outside the van? There's a few different reasons. One is like when we're doing our dishes in the van and we've made a juice and there's a lot of like pulp or something, it can block the sink up. It's just hard to clean, so we just rinse things outside and then finish washing it in the van. So that helps. Or like a really dirty oily pan. Another thing is after dumping the toilet in a dump point, I want to wash my hands, but I don't want to touch everything, so I'll put a soap bottle out here, wash my hands outside, it's a bit cleaner. Another reason is I cut this little hose up with a shower head on it that can plug into the outdoor fitting, so that if we want to have an outdoor shower for whatever reason, or clean our dirty feet off before we get inside the van, that's another reason we could use it too. So it's got heaps of reasons, and yeah, it's just really handy. So I hope this video was helpful for you guys. Just wanted to update it a little bit during the van build and show some feedback. And I just wanted to make sure that people following the van build and looked at how I did the tank install had an updated version and the best version so far that I've seen to install the tank. I know that some people install, you know, like stainless steel or put bottoms to it and everything. I'm going so far how I am now, and I don't see a reason to update it unless I had like catastrophic failures down the path. But so far so good. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and enjoy the rest of the van build. See ya.